We continue Game Time Live at the finals here at Oracle, presented by YouTube TV.
Get him.
The Raps have 9-2 this postseason, where that man shoots 50-plus from the field. Midnight again tonight with 18. Of course, had the huge game one. Now Pascal Siakam joins us. First of all, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
I know work's not done, but try and kind of describe the feeling taking a win on this floor, knowing how difficult that is, now being just 2 wins away from the goal.
I think it was a big step for us. We all obviously we know the arena and what they've been able to build here. Just coming here and getting a win is definitely shows the character of our team, and we want to just continue to get better. And we haven't obviously an opportunity to get another one in the next game, so we kind of focus ourselves on the next game.
You talk about focus. I was just going to ask you, there's so much focus about Clay. And I'm just curious, when did you guys find out officially that he wouldn't play? And how much discussion was there in the room last couple of days about game plan, if he's on the floor, if he's not? Because you hear all the noise outside. Obviously, a lot of attention paid to it.
I don't think we didn't really care at the end of the day. We kind of expected that he was going to play. So that's kind of how we prepared, and like a couple of minutes before the game, I guess we knew he wasn't, but it didn't matter. We prepared like he was going to play.
Pascal, welcome. Let me greet you properly. C'est bon, bonjour.
Bonjour.
As a young player, when you don't have
how terrible was that?
That was hard.
Bonjour. That was good.
C'est bon.
C'est bon. C'est bon.
Yeah.
I like it.
Hold on. First of all, don't check my French.
I'm asking you. I'm trying to learn.
Tony Parker and Boris Diaw taught me that word.
Hey, that was good.
Anyway,
That was good.
As a young player, when you don't play well, how does that affect your confidence, and what do you say to yourself to get back going?
Right. It's definitely tough. I think having leaders on our team like vets, like Mark, Kawhi, Kyle, they always try to talk to me, because I'm kind of hard on myself, just knowing how hard I work. But just having those guys always keeping me calm and knowing that it happens and you got to move on. I think that's kind of like the mentality that I had today, just moving on, and just knowing that I have the ability, and I just got to go out and do that.
Let me ask you this. We know how hard you work. Your story has been out there, and it's very inspiring, actually, about your story growing up and meeting the Ibaka. So first of all, thank you for encouraging everybody.
Yep.
Second, when you went into last summer, what did you say to yourself that you had to work on, and why did you say that? Because we see the fruit of your labor right now.
Right. I think the first thing I did coming to the summer is knowing that I couldn't be on the floor if I couldn't stretch the floor, like I couldn't shoot the ball. Like that's the first thing from the night we lost. That was my first thing, going in the gym, talking to Nick Nurse and all the coaching staff. Just got to improve my shooting, finding a way to be a threat out there on the three-point line. And then from there, just ball handling. I knew I had an opportunity to be out there and have the ball and handle the ball, making plays for others. I think it started with a jump shot, and then went back. My man Rico Hines, I always give him a shout out. We go out there and you just put the work in and working on moving the ball, being able to handle and kind of being a threat offensively.
You know what? This is your first finals experience, and I want to kind of change gears a little bit. I think the first time I was in the finals, the experience of media day on day one with 200 media people, and they had a rotation every 5 minutes. They rotated. What's been the experience of your first final experience that says, man, this is a little different? Right. From the regular, even the playoffs.
Yep. I never knew, I didn't know how crazy it was, until that first media day we had. It's kind of like eye-opening, just knowing that the whole world is looking at you and everyone is watching and paying attention. But at the same time,
is it funny going home like tonight? And typically you would go home and go, okay, let me go see what my man did over in Denver or somebody, and you're the only game on TV.
Right. It's crazy. Everyone is watching you. It's definitely something that I'm learning and I'm getting better at, just understanding the outside noise and keeping my composure and having a team spirit.
Yeah, I want to settle a debate because we had talked before about Shaq, obviously, whose rookie was Danny Green. This is just a couple of years ago. How long ago, Shaq?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
I look good, though.
But we talked about a conversation that was had in pregame that may have spurred the game tonight. But somebody on Twitter jumped in and said that that's not correct. Now, I don't know if this is you. He says that, Pascal, that this is you who hit Danny Green.
That was me.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Are you trying to do that? Or
no. Okay, so I'm thinking we're shooting 15 shots, but it was only 10. So I kept firing the passes, and he wasn't looking. You know, it was bad. I kind of woke him up. And they said, you know, after that, he started shooting the ball well, so I helped him out.
For all the people that didn't see me greet you, I'm going to greet you again. C'est bon, bonjour.
Bonjour, merci, bonjour.
You know, on TNT.
I deal with all the time, man.
It's like
He's only got, you know what, you like, he has like 9 degrees, but he only knows like a little bit of everything. So he doesn't know like
That's enough.
So it gives the appearance that he knows how to speak French. He does not know how to speak French. He's going to another language already.
There he is.
Pascal,
Oh, man, that's awesome.
on
Bonjour.
TNT, Kenny, Chuck, and myself, we unanimously said that you are the new 2 of the 1-2 punch. At what point in the season did you say, okay, I'm not a young player anymore, I'm going to be aggressive, and I'm going to be the second go-to guy for this team?
I think coming into the season, you know, I always had a mentality, and then having the minutes and being on the floor. And I think there was one point, you know, in Phoenix where, you know, I had like a bad game, and then at the end of the game, coach gave me the ball, you know, to end the game. So, you know, just having that confidence and knowing that, you know, your teammates trust you, and the coaches, you know, they believe in your work, and so that definitely boosts your confidence. And at that point, it was just, you know, continue to do what I do, and when my team is around, encourage me to do it. You know, I just feel confident to do it.
I got to ask you one more before we let you run, because we were mentioning, and we could call it quiet instead of quiet, but when Kawhi even scores 30 points, it's like he kind of like he just does it in the flow. He said before the game, even though last time he was in this building, he got Zaza, he doesn't even remember it or think about it. Can you take us inside? How different is he, the teammate, than what we see from the outside? Give us kind of an idea and a feel of what Kawhi's been like from a leadership perspective.
I think it's been awesome, man. I think we all have that perception of him or who he's supposed to be, and until, you know, you go out there and hang out with him every single day, you know he's a great dude. He's about his business. He had his family, and you know, that's what it's about. And coming in every day, making jokes and having fun with the guys on the plane. He's always been, you know, that guy that you can look at when something's going bad, and he's always has that calm demeanor, and just it gives you kind of like a you know, the peace and just out there and knowing that it's going to be okay. I kind of feel like that every time I'm on the floor with him. So he's definitely a great leader for us, and having him has been awesome.
You want to say goodbye in French?
Much amour to you. That means much love.
He said much amor.
Much amor to you?
First of all, don't Google, baby. Yeah, Google French words.
Googling French
Bonjour,
words?
amour, bonjour, chat, chien, sarah, Francois, and oui.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Dude,
He's the master of a little bit.
the butcher of many.
I like that right there.
That's all you
Thank
need.
you,
That's
Pat.
all you need.
Congrats, man.
Thank you,
2
man.
wins
Thanks.
away, deservedly so.
Congratulations.
Another big part of the team.
We will
Speaking
see you
in
till,
English,
Friday
says hello to the
fucking
media.
Mark here in the 3rd row.
Kyle Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Nick shared with us earlier that he talked to you before the game, and there was a sign on the board that said, "Let it rip." Tell me what that meant to you and how you think you let it rip tonight compared to how you played the first 2.
I think that was more of a message for the team. We shot 38 threes tonight, and you know, we got up a lot of threes, a lot of attempts, and just play basketball. For me, it was just coming out, being aggressive, and you know, not so being passive and trying to get everybody else involved, and more so get myself going, and you know, let everybody else feed off of that.
Michael in the middle. Kyle, Michael Grange from Sportsnet. I mean, when you found out that Clay wasn't playing, did it really feel like this was an opportunity you guys had to try and take advantage of tonight? Was there that added urgency? Obviously, you want to win every game, but
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you lose an all-NBA type basketball player in Clay and an all-star, it definitely, you know, it changes their team. But, I mean, Steph had an unbelievable game. You know, 47 points is pretty impressive. But, you know, we just went out there and did our job, and, you know, I think we held them under 40% shooting. You know, we played well. We finished the game, and we found a way to win a basketball game.
standing all the way in the back.
Well, the 30 assists, 14 turnovers, part of that, and fortunately couldn't turn that hamstring back to where it needed. Clay doesn't play. KD, a pep talk, but no playing either. And neither was Kawhi and his teammates. Early in game number 3, Raps off to a good start. Kawhi, Webb, aggressive off glass with a putback.
And that's what you want from Kawhi. To be aggressive early, but when Siakam got the mismatches that he wanted to, he took advantage, and that's what you love, the pace in which they played with, and Siakam's such a big part of that.
Yeah, strange 6 straight games down double digits in the first half. Then more, Kenny, from Kawhi.
Well, the ability to take people off the dribble, that was his most exciting play of the night, Shaq. But taking people off the dribble, the pick in the post, mid-range, and 3. But then Steph Curry was just fabulous all night long.
17 in the first quarter, Kenny, the most that he's had in a finals first quarter, 25 and a half, the most he's had.
With that much responsibility, there's lots of power. Bang.
Boy.
And found a way to get freedom, was aggressive. Teammates did a good job, got freed up for more shots than you might have thought. Team was down at the break, just 8, but the Raptors come out firing. And you talked about it, Shaq, Lowry, Van Fleet, those others came into effect in the third.
And right here you have great ball movement, guys not holding the ball, taking shots in rhythm. When you get the, pass the ball to your teammate, make sure you give it to him in rhythm. Danny Green, who I told to leave it, he had a great game, he's feeling it. And Toronto played a hell of a game.
Oh, give me that.
Whoa, give me that.
2 things you never
hustling.
thought. 3-point advice and
Got
French speaking advice from Shaq in one night. Both worked. Nice look from Kawhi, Danny Green, overcook.
And a lot of those threes were coming.
I don't like that shot. He didn't leave it.
Yeah, but a lot of those threes were coming. The shot clock was running down, and he didn't have time to realize, I missed maybe a couple in the previous games. He shot the basketball.
Okay, Danny.
Look at him get back on the defensive end, and this is what you got to like. And the fact, again, I don't think we can say enough about Kyle Lowry and his presence in the game, getting guys and getting his shot. But 6 guys in double figures for Toronto, like Shaq said, you don't see that often.
And Webb, even though, and he rightfully so, Steph will get a lot of credit for that fight that he showed. Ibaka, we had the chase down block you just saw from Danny Green, a big block late from Siakam as well. Defensively, they did their best. Boogie didn't feel his best. Steph and the Warriors continuing to try and hang in. Draymond for a 3, which cut the lead at the time to 14. It's now 12 with 2.5 to go. And more from Draymond. Aggressive inside. The shots weren't working early, Webb. Seemed like second half, Draymond knew to take it inside, take it to the rack.
Well, yeah, and that's what you want to do. Play the percentages, play the numbers. Make guys that don't normally shoot threes, and hopefully you get a little bit of luck like that. Van Vliet, shout out to his newborn child that's giving him all this feel from outside. But, yeah, you want the guys to shoot. And
there it is.
The percentages, play the percentages.
Kenny, did you think when you look going back last series, you guys are sitting there first 2 games, and I think Brogdon had outscored the entire Raptors bench through the first 2 games, that they'd bounce back the last few games last series in this as well as they have?
Well, you knew they were capable, just weren't able to, put things into play. And, a light switch turned on, and but they have been capable of doing this. This is what we expected out of their bench and Van Vliet throughout the season. We had seen this at times when Kyle Lowry, even last year, wasn't playing up to par. He would finish games. So this is not new to us. It's just it's new to him recently to come back in this kind of environment and do it. And it's just great to see guys playing at their best at the best times.
And this is why we love competition so much, because every game is an if. Now, when you get to this level, it's always about if the others can play well, or if the superstars can have a monster game. If a guy who hasn't been shooting well starts to, find his stroke. And, the others for Toronto, they play excellent basketball today in a tough building, and they're up 2-1. But they can't get too happy because Golden State is battle-tested, and when you poke that bear, they usually wake up.
Speaking of ifs, what if we can get the video of Kawhi telling those jokes on the plane? I personally would love. Anybody buying that? I would love to see those. Kawhi had 30 points in the game, 10 of 11 from the line, hit 2 big threes in the third quarter. Here he is after the win to put him up 2-1.
It feels good. I mean, I don't think about what happened 2 years ago. Pretty much living in the now. And I'm just happy we were able to get a Game 3 win, another step closer to our goal.
ESPN, why was Let It Rip just the right message tonight for you guys on the whiteboard, and who wrote it, and how well did Kyle Lowry follow that advice?
I think we all kind of follow that advice, but it's just easier to look at that now and say it worked great for us, especially on a great shooting night. But it's been a while since the whole playoff series. We haven't really had a good team shooting night. I knew eventually at some point we would do for one. So luckily we got one tonight, but we still have to do a better job defensively and the floor to limit those guys better. So we don't have to rely on our offense or our shooting to win games for us. But luckily we did tonight, and hopefully next game we can continue to stay warm and let it rip, and hopefully play even better defense.
Steve on the aisle over here.
Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. Danny, over here.
I see you.
Shaquille O'Neal apparently offered some shooting advice to you.
He's a pure shooter. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah. Can you fill us in on what he suggested and what effect it had on your performance tonight?
Yeah, I spoke to him before the game briefly. He's always on the TNT set, and he was out there before the game. And every time I see him, he's giving me his pure shooting advice, because he was good at it. And but just the fundamentals, the small things. He's telling me to be confident and just hold the follow through. And obviously after a good shooting night, it's easy to see that his advice has worked. But he always just yells to me, leave it, and that's his way of saying, leave your hand up there, hold your follow through, and be confident in your shot. But he's always been that guy to me everywhere, or every year that we get on the playoffs or on this stage, where he comes over and tells me, stay confident and give me his shooting advice.
Standing in the back right.
Listen, I played with Chris Jackson, a.k.a. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Maurice Williamson, Doug Sandberg in high school, Joe Cavalier, D. Scott. I always go back to the first finals we lost when, Kenny was just throwing it up there, leaving it, looking at our bench, talking smack to play. The greatest shooters leave it. And I've never been a shooter like that, but I played with guys, and I used to always tell them to leave it, and it always worked. And again, Danny was my rookie, and, when I got to Cleveland, it was towards the end of my career. LeBron is a great leader, he always did his thing, but when he wouldn't do certain things, and I would, pick up like Danny was there with me. We were both new, and I would say, okay, listen, you're not gonna stop LeBron, but when he's out there running around doing that, you can work on your game also. So you're a shooter. That's why we brought you here. So just leave it.
And what was interesting, because, he's talking about, hey, jokingly about shooting advice, but really what he needed more than anything is some smelling sauce. So what Shaq did was put the smelling sauce, because it's different when you hear it on television. It's different when you hear it from the stands. But when your peers and someone you look up to grabs you and shakes you and say, yo, I'm paying attention to what you're doing, man, and that's not you. And you get that smelling salt, sauce, whatever it is, you get it on. That's what you did to him.
And as soon as,
you can't take credit for all of it, but every now and then you need someone to bring you back to where you are. And in that moment, and I still, honestly, I didn't notice it until Chris noticed. Chris said, now look at the difference the way he's warming up.
Because Shaq told him, he said, I don't even want to.
It's a family show. It's a family show.
I like that, but
this isn't TNT. Family show.
But I don't even mean like the way you said it, but it wasn't even so much Shaq telling him to leave it. What I took from the conversation was, hey, man, he was on the other end practicing. And I looked at Kenny. I'm like, he's down there like, he's lazy.
Joking around.
He's joking around. And Shaq came over here like, man, it's time to go. And that's what you need. Like, I don't care if Shaq made 1 or 1,000 shots. Shaq basically said to him, you know how we do. You playing around.
That's
if you was playing with me. That's what he don't need to be doing that. He ain't do that all night. And so what I think it was more than Shaq saying, leave it and shoot it, which he did. It was him saying, get prepared. Quit playing around. You got a big game to play. And I think those things matter a lot. I saw Shaq put batteries in a lot of guys' back. And I know it worked.
Well, give me some names then.
I ain't doing that, man.
You like that fire?
Hey,
you
you talking about?
I ain't talking about nobody.
I know you ain't talking about Samaki Walker.
Samaki Walker is
I know you ain't talking about Mark Madsen.
Coach Mark Madsen. What up, Coach? Can I add one more thing we have time for?
Yeah, sure.
Because this happened to me once. I was having a great game, and one of my favorite groups of all time was Bell Biv DeVoe. And Michael Bivens is a big basketball fan.
He was smooth, yeah.
And so I had like maybe 19 points at halftime. And so now I come out, and it's a game that's on national television, and I see Mike Bivens, and I'm like, oh, he's waving, and of course, I'm going to go say what's up. And then one of my friends came up to me after, he's like, you never do that. What are you doing? Get back on the court. He ran from the other side, and I woke and put the smelling salt back on me. Like, I don't do that. So it takes you out of mental focus. So what Danny Green is a great player, has been on championship teams, but he was out of mental focus. And I don't know if Shaq did it, but I sure know it did not hurt him what Shaq said. I know it helped him in some way.
I wish I could tell America what I really said, but I can't.
Well, when you said it, Shaq, I promise you I said to Kenny, I said, he going to have a big game tonight.
He did. He said it. And I said, no, not just for – he said, I'm putting my money on Danny Green tonight to have the game tonight. That's what he said.
Why don't you say it in French?
Dos éléments dans un votoir, mettez un ponton que tu point.
That sounded a little. That sounded like something.
You mother pumper. Punch you in your mother pumping face.
From complete insanity to an insanely good performance. Steph